What's up everyone, we're going to be going to the best NBA player props and bets today. Now don't forget to like this video as it does let me know to continue to give you free picks every day. So make sure to like this video clicking that button down below. And if we get 500 likes on this video, I will do another video for tomorrow. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group. And as you guys see, we actually got 19 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak. But if you want to get 19 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure you join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $2,070 just yesterday. Another member who won $150 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, a link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Martin Curtis 8294 who said you're the best. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. So getting into the first player prop, we're going to start off with player props first, then in the second half of the video we are going to be talking about money lines and matchups. So let's start off with the first player prop that we are going to be talking about, and that is for Grayson Allen. Now guys, girls, also don't worry about the projections that are on this website. You know, don't take them into consideration. I have my own predictions for this, but let's talk about Grayson Allen. This one is for 3.5 rebounds and this one is for the under. Now we actually are projecting the under for someone like Grayson Allen coming into this game. Now big reason being, when we look at the last 5 games, we have seen him face off against some pretty easy teams and hasn't really done too well over the last 5. We do see against San Antonio Spurs actually had 3 rebounds there. We saw against Golden State Warriors he had 4 rebounds there, then had 3 rebounds against LA Clippers, which was interesting to see. LA Clippers again off a back-to-back actually had 0 rebounds there, and then also against New Orleans Pelicans we actually saw him have 2 rebounds. So we have seen him go on the under quite consistently over the last 5 games, which hasn't really been the best for him, but we are liking the under for this pick. Now when we look at someone like Grayson Allen, he does have himself a very good matchup against none other than actually Indiana Pacers, so it is definitely going to be an exciting game for sure. But looking at where both of these teams do lie, we do start off with obviously Phoenix. Starting off with them, we do know that Phoenix do come in at actually in the Western Conference in the 7th spot, so they've surprised a lot of people. They've actually done a fantastic job so far this season, but when it comes to this matchup, we do also know that looking at Suns, they do rank 7th and they face off against the Indiana Pacers team, who unfortunately rank very much lower as they rank 14th, however, in the Eastern Conference. Now they have a record of 1 win and 10 losses. That's a 9.1% win percentage. So literally under 10%, which is insane. They have a 1-4 record from home, 0-6 record from away, and are currently on a 5-game losing streak compared to Suns, who are currently on a 4-game win streak. So they've actually done a fantastic job. They're also 5-1 at home and 2-4 from away, which I think is great to see. So Suns have definitely been in a very good spot. But coming into this matchup, it is definitely going to be an exciting one, but we do know that Grayson Allen does face off against a Indiana Pacers team that when we actually look at rebounds allowed, we do see that Pacers do surprisingly rank 28th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So why do we like the under for this situation? Now a big reason being is that first, when we look at this matchup more in depth, we do also know that when it comes to Grayson Allen, he is a guard, and Indiana Pacers actually do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds to the actual guard position. So we definitely are expecting Grayson Allen to go on the under here. We definitely see him going on the under due to the fact not only do Indiana do a great job to his position, but we also have seen Grayson Allen struggle to get rebounds in general over the last 5 games. And this is because his usage rate is just not really made for actually rebounds. Grayson Allen isn't a big rebounder. He never really was. And because of that, he does look to provide for this team in other ways, and we are expecting in this matchup for him to really focus a little bit more on scoring, on playmaking, rather than worrying about rebounds for sure. So for that reason, we definitely do very much like the under for someone like Grayson Allen coming into this game. So definitely keep an eye out for this player prop. Grayson Allen 3.5 rebounds for the under, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Scottie Barnes. So, Scottie Barnes, great player, as we all know, for none other than actually Toronto Raptors. And this one is a fantastic pick for 7.5 rebounds. However, we like the under for this one. So, we do very much like the under for this one. Now, looking at, his last 5 games, we've seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5. We saw him face off against Memphis in that matchup. He actually had 12 rebounds there. Then face off against Milwaukee. He had 3 rebounds, 10 rebounds against Atlanta, then 5 rebounds against Philadelphia, and then 11 rebounds against Brooklyn. So very, very interesting, but we do know that Raptors face off against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting matchup for sure, but looking at where both these teams do lie, starting off with Toronto Raptors in the Eastern Conference, we actually have seen them currently rank 8th in the Eastern Conference, which I think is great to see. Now, they have a record of 6 wins, 5 losses, a 54.5% win percentage, and on top of that, they are 2-2 at home, 4-3 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. Now, they face off against the Cleveland Cavaliers, where Cleveland do actually rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of 8 wins and 4 losses. That's a 66.7% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 4-1 from home, 4-3 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So, very, very interesting to see. Now, coming into this matchup, we do also know that the Cleveland Cavaliers have themselves a really, really exciting matchup due to the fact that both of these teams are in the Eastern Conference and both continuing are to fight for a spot in the playoffs. Now, obviously, we are still very early on in the season, but it's still something to be wary about. But looking at this matchup between Toronto and Cleveland, and looking at Cleveland defensively when it comes to rebounds allowed, we do see that Cleveland Cavaliers, when it comes to rebounds allowed, we actually find them in the 23rd spot. So why do we like the under for this? Similar to the Grayson Allen one, when we look on a per position basis, we do actually see that Cleveland Cavaliers do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds to the forward position, which is what Scottie Barnes does play. Now, a big reason why we do actually see Cleveland doing a fantastic job is due to the fact that Cleveland have a lot of great big men in their team. Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, all these different things, even their, role-playing type bigs have done a great job at rebounding, and they have done a great job at restricting, forwards and centers from rebounding for sure. So that's why coming into this one, we do very, very much like the under for this one. And for someone like Scottie Barnes, even if Cleveland don't end up playing Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, as there has been some times they have taken off so far this season, we still definitely like the under, as Cleveland really do focus on restricting bigs from getting those boards. So coming into this matchup, we do very, very much like the under for it. So definitely keep an eye out for Scottie Barnes coming into this game. See a lot of value there to go on the under, for this rebounding line. So Scottie Barnes, keep an eye out for 7.5 rebounds for less, I think is a great pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Lauri Markkanen. So, Lauri Markkanen, great player from none other than actually, the Utah Jazz. Now, Utah Jazz, this one is a big one because this one is also for rebounds, for 6.5 rebounds, however, and this one is for less. So we do actually like the under for this one. Now, looking at his last 5 games, we've seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5. We saw against Boston him having 9 rebounds there. Then against Detroit had 4 rebounds in that matchup. Then Minnesota, 2 rebounds. 8 rebounds against Minnesota, and then 3 rebounds against Indiana. So very interesting to see. We have seen him go on the under quite consistently, but most importantly, what we do also have seen from these last 5 games is that not only is he going on the under quite consistently, but now they face off against an Atlanta Hawks team. Now, looking at this matchup between Atlanta and Utah Jazz, starting off with, actually Atlanta Hawks, looking at where they are, their opponent, or, Lauri Markkanen's opponents, Atlanta Hawks, come in at the 5th spot in the Eastern Conference. So they actually have a record of 7 wins and 5 losses. That's a 58.3% win percentage. On top of that, they are 2-3 from home, also 5-2 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. So they definitely have done a fantastic job there. But they face off against a Utah Jazz team who have surprised a lot of people, but are still a little bit in the lower half. But they currently rank 10th in the Western Conference, and a lot of people didn't think they would be in that position. But they have a record of 4 wins and 7 losses. That's a 36.4% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 3-2 at home, 1-5 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So it is definitely going to be an exciting game for sure. But looking at both of these teams and looking at where they do rank, we do obviously see that when it comes to Lauri Markkanen in the matchup against Atlanta, we do see Atlanta Hawks when it comes to rebounds allowed. We do see that Atlanta do rank 22nd. So you probably know I'm going to say with this one again, but when we look on a per position basis, we do see something very different, but we do like the under for this one. And a big reason being Atlanta do rank very high when it comes to restricting rebounds to the forward position. But what we also do see is that Lauri Markkanen's usage rate as of lately has been very, very low. He hasn't really been a big rebounder for this team, and we don't really see that continuing on into this next game for sure. So that's why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, for someone like Lauri Markkanen, what we also have seen with him is that looking at his actual, line as well, we do believe that he did have an outlier game against Boston. It's brought this line a little bit too high that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under. Now, when we look at both of these teams as well, although Hawks are a pretty fast-paced team, Jazz tend to be a little bit slower, and we are expecting, them or Hawks to actually go down to Jazz's pace rather than the other way around. So we aren't expecting a super fast-paced game. We are expecting Jazz to play kind of what they're used to, and that's why we are expecting Lauri to put up some similar numbers than he has over the last 5 games. So, for that reason, we do very, very much like the under for someone like Lauri Markkanen coming into this matchup. And on top of that, Lauri Markkanen, 6.5 rebounds for less, I think is a great, great pick. So let's get into the money line. So as you all know, there is only 3 NBA games for today. Unfortunately, we don't have that many games, but I still want to go through each one and talk about a money line. Now, I do, unfortunately do prefer a little bit more of a money line sort of pick compared to spreads. I know a lot of people do like spreads, but I do want to just, do some money lines as I'd find it a lot more easier and a bit more easier to actually hit as well. But we're going to be talking about this one because this one is actually for, the Cleveland and Toronto matchup. Now, we do know where both of these teams do actually lie. We touched on it just earlier, but just to quickly remind you all again, obviously Toronto Raptors are 8th in the East. They have a record of 6-5, and they face off against Cleveland, who also rank 2nd in the East and also have a record of 8-4. Now, when we scroll down, we also do see a quick injury report from both teams. Now, obviously, this is from last game, so things can change, but we had Agbaji, who was actually out for Toronto in the most recent game, but he definitely could actually potentially play in this next game back, so we are expecting that there. And on top of that, we also do know when it comes to Cleveland, they do have some players out. Obviously Donovan Mitchell out for rest, could definitely be back. We also have Tyson, who's out with illness, Garland out with a toe, Evan Mobley out for rest, and then Strus out with a foot. So, obviously players like Mitchell and Mobley are out for rest, so we definitely could see them bounce back into the starting lineup for this game against Toronto. Now, anything can definitely still happen. As I've always mentioned, when it comes to injuries and all that, it is really difficult to really base your picks off these, kind of injury reports and all that, because the injury reports make a huge difference. Now, I've always mentioned this time and time again, when it actually comes to obviously, injury reports, it is very difficult to base it off the injury reports that come out, because sometimes they come out 30 minutes, an hour before the game. So, when it comes to the money lines, you definitely want to look out for ones that are guaranteed to hit or at least as high as possible, even if injuries do occur, or even if people rest or end up playing. So, when we look at actually Toronto and Cleveland, it is going to be an exciting matchup for sure, because both of these teams are currently in the playoff picture, but we do actually like the money line for Cleveland winning this matchup. Cleveland have been in a very, very good position as of lately. Now, obviously, they have had a couple of losses under their belt. They lost against Miami recently. They also had another loss against Toronto earlier on this season. And although that may be the case, we are expecting them to come into this matchup and get that win. Okay, now Cleveland have really improved over the last 5 games when it comes to their defense. Now, during the start of the season, they definitely were a little bit poor, but we have seen them kind of adjust, be able to do really, really well, which is why they do currently have the second, ranking in the East. And Toronto on the other side have been pretty unpredictable when it comes to the way they play. Some days they play very well, other days they don't really play too well as well, and that's definitely has been the case for them. When we look at their, kind of winning going on, they were currently on a win streak just before their most recent loss against Philly. But they did go on a 4-game win streak. They had the ball rolling. They ended up beating Brooklyn. But I do believe they did have a couple of easier matchups. Now, as we mentioned before with Cleveland, they did face off against Toronto, and Toronto faced it off against Cleveland. And Toronto did actually win that game. But we are expecting more adjustments to be made, coming into this next game for sure. And that's why we do like Cleveland winning this matchup. So, for that reason, I definitely do like Cleveland for the money line, and I see a lot of value there for them to get that win for sure. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Atlanta and Utah. So this one is a interesting one. Now, obviously, looking at both of these teams, Atlanta currently ranked 5th in the East with a record of 7-5. We also have Utah, who ranked 10th in the West and have a 4-7 record. Now, although Utah is favorite to win, we actually do very much like Atlanta winning this matchup. Now, looking at the injuries for both of these teams, Atlanta do have Trae Young currently out with the knee, as we do know. And they have actually been doing pretty well even without Trae Young. However, when you look at Utah on the other side of things, Utah is a little bit of a different story. Obviously, you have Anderson out, Henderson out. You also have Nilang. Kessler's out for the season, as we do know. Love's also out. So, yes, some of their main players are still out there. Nurkic, Markkanen, Bailey, all these different guys. And they have definitely been playing well. But coming into this one, we still do very much like Atlanta winning this matchup. Now, some people do believe Utah are favorites. Other bookies have been showing ATL to be the favorite. So, it is really 50-50 in that sense. But, when it comes to actually this matchup for us, we just see Atlanta really pushing the pace, playing their great defense that they have done all season. And we definitely see them going and winning this matchup for sure. Now, looking at Atlanta so far, Atlanta are on a 3-game win streak, so they have had a little bit of a hot streak, and we are expecting that hot streak to kind of continue into this next game, and we don't really see any struggling there for sure. Now, Utah on the other side, they've definitely struggled quite a bit. They haven't really been able to get their defense quite together. They've lost against easier teams as well, so it has been a little bit of a chaotic show for Utah Jazz, and we aren't really expecting that much from them coming into this next game for sure. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for this one. I do very much like Atlanta to win this for the money line. Definitely keep an eye out for that pick. Now, getting into the next one, Indiana versus Phoenix. Great matchup, as we all know. Now, Indiana and Phoenix, looking at Indiana first, 14th in the East, 1-10 record. Let's be real, Indiana Pacers have been absolutely shocking. Apologies if you are an Indiana fan, but they haven't really been the best. They have really struggled, and on top of that, we also have seen that Phoenix have also struggled, at times at the start of the season, but they have been able to bounce back, which makes them completely different and why they are actually 7th in the West. So they actually have a record of 7-5, which I think is amazing to see. But what we also do see with this is that when it comes to actually, the matchup between Indiana and actually Phoenix, we do also know that, looking at both of these teams and where they are at, Phoenix are favorites to win, and we do have Phoenix winning this matchup for sure. So we aren't expecting a Hail Mary type win from Indiana. We do believe that Phoenix are kind of starting to get really into their groove when it comes to, how they like to play basketball, the pace that they like to run, all these different things. And it's definitely been beneficial for them. So coming into this one, we do like the, Phoenix winning this matchup. Now, looking at this more in depth, we do also know, and looking at actually the injury reports, starting off with Indiana, we do know injuries have been a bit of a problem for them. We have Toppin out with the foot, Mathurin out with the foot. We also have Halliburton's out for the season. Jackson's out with a hamstring, and it's definitely been tough for them there. On the other side, you got Jalen Green, who's kind of the only injured one. So, O'Neal's out there, Williams out there, Devin Booker, Allen, Brooks. They're all out there. playing very well, and we definitely see that kind of working out in their favor. Indiana have been on quite a little bit of a losing streak as of lately. They currently only have one win, yes, and we definitely are expecting them coming into this next matchup to go and lose this matchup again, unfortunately. Now Phoenix on the other side, they are actually doing really well. They are currently on a 4-game win streak, and we are expecting them to continue that sort of win streak coming into this next game, no doubt about it. So for this one, we do very much like Phoenix winning this matchup for the money line, so definitely keep an eye out for this pick.